Good evening. Good evening. How many of you had a good experience today in reaching the community? All right. You know, the Bible says in Matthew chapter 5, it says something here I want to read to you. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So you're strategically to go out and let your light shine before men. You're strategically to have them see your good works, because they're not really your good works, they're God's good works through you. And this is the way the light shines. So today, finally I met one of our neighbors across the street that I've been trying to meet for a long time. And I met him, and he told me, I don't need any help. I don't want you to help me, because if you help me, then you'll want to talk to me about the Bible and about religion. And I said, you think that's what I do? He goes, that's what you do. I said, the funny thing is, that's what you just did. You started to talk to me about the Bible and religion. And we had a very interesting discussion, which I won't go through. I said, man, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I didn't want to talk about something that you didn't bring up. So then I could tell you the whole conversation, but just suffice it to say, he said, Christianity has been bad, that did this and did the other things. And we talked about a lot of things, and I said, well, all I know is that today I'm helping Susan and Rick clean up their yard. And last week I helped Michael and Jenny, and we're going to be working with James up there, and we're going to go visit Jack and Judy, and we're going to put wood in their yard. That's all I know. And he goes, that's good. That's real good. So anyway, I just want to encourage you that it is God's plan that you go out and let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Paul said, and they glorified God in me, in Galatians chapter 1. So tonight we're going to have a special mission report, or whatever is on the heart of our speaker tonight. But before he comes, I'm going to introduce him in just a minute. And I have some gifts to shower upon him. Where is he? All right, there he is. Okay, good. And so we'll introduce him in a minute. But Sharonette has an announcement. Please come forward. Sharonette's one of our nursing instructors. How many of you have met Sharonette? Okay, how many of you have not? This is Sharonette.
Our group, the Auburn Chariots, is actually, I don't know if they like that title, but I've heard it, so, right, Brother Carl? Okay, so we're actually doing health lectures. So our territory is more the rich territory. So we were asking and praying and asking God, Lord, what can we do to help? Because they don't really need yard work. They don't really, they're pretty well off. But 1 out of 4 people in America today experience mental health disorders. And so we want to be able to target that population. And a lot of them, unfortunately, are in the rich neighborhoods as well. And so we're actually holding up a seminar, a 7-week seminar, kind of like a depression recovery program. And it's going to start October 3 to November 14th. And it's we're needing help to pass out these flyers because it's starting next week. I don't have the flyers with me at this moment, but on Wednesday, Brother Carl will be able to give those out. But I need help. We all need help in passing these flyers out because it's much needed. A lot of people nowadays, suffer with depression and anxiety and insomnia, all those three, like a triad of diseases. And what we can do is, pretty much give them the ability of how they can optimize their brain health. Amen? And God wants that. And, I actually, a divine appointment today I had was a teacher. I was knocking on her door, and I said, "Hi, my name is Sharonette. We're with Total Community Involvement, and our group is actually holding health lectures, mental health lectures." And she told me, I'm a teacher in the area, and I really want your flyers. I want to give them to my students, because a lot of the students in the high school suffer from these things. And and I asked her, I said, "Well, why don't you give me your contact information, and we're willing to hold health lectures as well in your school." And she was really excited about that. So please keep that in prayer. And God will do marvelous work. First of all, it's not our work, it's His, and we are but vessels for Him.
Our speaker tonight is from the Southern Asia-Pacific Division. And he watches over, I learned today, more countries than I thought. And he watches over the missionaries and the different aspects there. I mean, his official bio says he's the Secretary-Treasurer of the Southern Asia-Pacific Division, Associate Secretary-Treasurer. And he cares for the inter-division workers who come to the division. In other words, all the people that come to those, 14 countries? I think it was when we were at your little R&B rental, you told me it was something like 400, 600?
114 come to our.
Okay. So a lot of missionaries in different places. And a matter of fact, when he was there, he was very helpful to me in getting around. And he told me, when you get back to Weimar, give my wife this card. This is the card to get around in Bangkok on the train. So I forgot until I saw you. So I give this back to you now. It does not work on the Weimar train, but you can use the loop. And then I have 2 gifts. By the way, he's been a youth leader. He's been a pastor. He's got a great heart. He's very attentive to the needs of people he's caring for. And I thought he was a great speaker. You're going to have to judge that tonight. He was a great speaker there when we were in Bangkok. And, there are people that are tasked to look after you when you're in places, but he always called long before they did. And I want to thank you for doing that. Now I have 2 gifts for you. One is we want you to let your light so shine before men. How many think that he needs a TCI shirt? Now, we want you to wear this at your meetings at the general conference. Okay? So, just put your suit on, and then under the suit, that. Okay? How many think this is very important for him to do? Let his light shine. Secondly, we want you to prosper and be in health, so we're going to give you the health shirt. And this will get you into a lot of trouble. No, it will get you into a lot of places, and we would be honored if you would happen to wear our shirt from time to time. And we also have this pass, the bus pass, for you to get back. And we welcome you to our campus, and we're looking forward to what God's going to share through you tonight.
Am I working here? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you, Pastor Don. Next time I go to Bangkok, I'll be able to get around. And actually, this I do want to wear. I am really excited about what you guys are doing in the community. In our division, we have something, it's part of TMI, or Total Member Involvement, that the General Conference has put out, but we've altered it a little bit, and it's called IEL, Integrated Lifestyle Evangelism. Same thing. It's still part of getting us out into the community and getting groups of people involved. So when I heard about what you were doing, and by the way, if you don't remember who I am, I'm Keona's dad. And that's probably the most important introduction I can have. I'm Keona's dad. Most people call me Pastor Kevin. And so, in fact, a lot of people don't even know my last name. It's either Keona's dad or Pastor Kevin. Either works. But I have been to 3 different colleges, high schools, academies, and colleges, universities, and academies doing programs this year. And this is what I've been talking about. I've even shown pictures of bright green t-shirts. And so I have been talking about what you are doing on this campus and going out into the community to make a difference. I was just recently in our university in Thailand, AIU, Asia-Pacific International University. And while I was there, they asked me to talk about making a difference. That was their title, Making a Difference. I said, perfect, I can do that. And I asked if they really wanted to make a difference, or they only sort of, kind of wanted to talk about making a difference. And when they said, no, we want to make a difference, then I talked about what you guys are doing here in TCI and showed your pictures and showed you guys out in the community. I said, can you believe that a college would actually close down a half a day a year? I said, it doesn't really happen, does it? Oh yeah, I know of one and it does. They close down, and not only that, it's not just the students, it's the faculty, and everybody leaves the campus and goes off to find people to help. They couldn't believe it. I said, you can do this too. Or come up with another program. It doesn't have to be this one. But I've been promoting what you have been doing. So Pastor Don, I will wear this shirt. Thank you very much. It will go perfectly with what I will be doing and talking about. Now, I've heard all sorts of times of how soon I need to quit here. In fact, what I have heard is everything from 10 minutes to 2 hours. Well, 2 hours was what I said, but others said 10 minutes or so. So do me a favor, 5 minutes before you want me to stop, wave your hand or do that. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep talking till midnight or 1. That works too. Thank you very much. And yeah, just let me know when you want me to quit, because I'm excited about what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. And I want you to be also. And so you asked for stories earlier today, and I have tons of stories I could tell. But I've decided I'm just going to talk about where I am and what happens, just a few things of what happens there. Show you just a little mission story, little mission report, and then I'm going to challenge you just a little bit. Before I begin, let's pray together. Father, you have challenged us to go us therefore to all the world to make disciples. Lord, you've told us that the end is coming soon. There are people that we need to let know you're coming back. Lord, we want to be able to let people know, whether it's in our backyard mission field right here at Weimar, or whether it's somewhere else around the world. I ask, Lord, that tonight as we talk about your mission field, that you'll be with us. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, just a quick picture of where we are and what we do. This is a picture of South East Asia. And let's see if my mouse works on this page. It does. Our mission field starts in the east in the Philippines. That's where the headquarters is for Southern Asia-Pacific Division. It's where I work. And I suppose if you lift up here just a little, I don't know if I can shrink this a little. Technically, Dili, East Timor, is a little bit further east, the country of East Timor. If you go south across the equator is Malaysia, the island of Borneo you've heard of, Indonesia, and then all the way through the islands across towards Singapore is down here, then Malaysia and Thailand is over here, Vietnam coming back up. I'm going to talk about Vietnam for quite a little bit, Laos, Myanmar. Bangladesh is over here. We do not have this part, China and that area, nor do we have the continent of India, but we go from here and skip over to the country of Pakistan. So we pass over a continent in order to get to part of our territory. Then down below in Sri Lanka. So this gives you an idea of where Southern Asia Pacific Division is. I actually had a different picture of it on a map here on the back of your Sabbath School Quarterly, if you want to take a look at it. but it's kind of a little bit blurry there, so I thought I'd show the other one. We live in Southern Asia-Pacific Division, SSD. We kind of get our initials mixed up just a little bit. You got it though, SSD, Southern Asia-Pacific Division, right? I don't know what happened when they named it. Actually, they don't know what happened when they named it, but there are 13 divisions around the world, and of those 13 divisions, they're all allocated 3 number letters, and the last one must be D, division. And so we have 2 letters to decide everybody's name, and a lot of them don't work. We wanted Southern Asia Pacific Division. SAD would have worked. We didn't want to be sad, first of all, but second of all, someone else already had it, South American Division. Then, well, SPD would work, Southern Asia Pacific Division, but Australia already had that, South Pacific Division. And so they decided it ought to be Southern Asia Pacific Division. It stuck. I don't know why. If you were to go north, there's Northern Asia Pacific Division. They wanted NAD. Someone already had that. Don't know why. So finally ended up with Northern Asia Pacific Division. That's our name. And this is where we work. If you've never been, anybody ever been to the division? Wow. How many of you have been to the division headquarters? Wow, excellent. I am really sorry. It's a challenging and tough mission field area to work in. Very, very difficult at the headquarters office. I wish you could see it. This is our headquarters, and this is an aerial shot. You can see the houses where we are. My house is right here, right over there. Oops, I guess that's the end of it. The campus actually has a 1.5 mile loop going around, and I wish I had shown a few more pictures because of time I blotted them out, but it really isn't so bad after all. It's an island paradise to live on. Beautiful flowers. The biggest problem with the flowers is that every day the petals fall to the ground and they kind of make all the pollution that's on campus because they litter the place. There's so many of them and there are flower petals all over the place. I wish you could come there. It's tough, it's challenging. But usually by 10 o'clock they are up and it's okay. It's a beautiful island paradise really, and I'm very grateful to live there. You step outside of our front door and you step into the mission field. And along the way, vendors, sellers, people, this is in the Philippines, different forms of transportation. Maybe you have seen some of these in action. Philippines are known for their brightly colored jeepneys. However, the jeepney is going by the wayside. The president has declared that we would no longer use jeepneys, and in fact, slowly this year but surely, there's new vehicles coming in to replace them. But people they're well known for their colors and for even, they have contests every year to see which jeepney looks the best. So here are a few of the fruits of where we are. Pineapples, let me tell you. How many of you have had a delicious Hawaiian pineapple? And you know a delicious Hawaiian pineapple is wonderful, but when you're done, it's kind of just a little bit tart, and it leaves this nice big ring around your mouth, and you can just, not a Philippine pineapple. Philippine pineapple, it's not that tart, it's just really sweet. No ring around the mouth, no acid taste. Sorry, but much better than pineapples from Hawaii. Do you see the long fruits there in the back? I love papaya. I think that mangoes are sweet. I could sing a song about it. In the restaurants, you recognize this is pineapple rice. Have you had supper yet? Do you know what this is? How many of you like durian? Awesome. How many of you think durian will be on the tree of life? How many of you believe that if you get up to heaven and you find durian, that you've ended in the wrong place? Durian is, it's a taste to be acquired. In my opinion, it's neither as good nor as bad as everybody says it is. It's okay, but I don't go out of my way to eat it, but I like it okay enough. It doesn't bother me. A couple more pictures. Moving to Indonesia. What is Indonesia known for? It is the largest blank country in the world. It is most of people think that the Muslim countries are over there in Kuwait and Iraq and Iran, and surely they are, but the largest Muslim country in the world is Indonesia. And you never hear about Indonesia on the news. For the most part, Indonesia is a very, very tolerant Muslim country. And the things you think of when you hear of Muslim countries, they usually don't apply to Indonesians. Most Indonesians, whether Muslim or Christian, there are 5 major religions in Indonesia. And Muslims, Christians, Hindus. Hindus are a very large religion in the island of Bali, as well as a couple of the Chinese religions. But I share that because officially Indonesia is not a Muslim country. Officially, it is a secular country where most of the Muslims live. And it's a huge difference. Many, many friends that I have met there who happen to be Muslim. Many wonderful conversations with a lot of Muslim Indonesian friends there. So Indonesia, very diverse. Bali, as I shared, is not Muslim, it's Hindu. And when you're there, it has more Hindu temples per square mile than anywhere else on earth, including India. Bali is just south of the equator. As I said, it is a Muslim country. But it also is in some areas, very ritualistic. This is a man I met on the island of Papua. I don't know, is he one of your friends? What do you think we could say to him about Jesus? Timor-Leste, or East Timor. There are 2 countries in all of our territory that are Christian. Timor-Leste is one, and the other is? Philippines. Yeah, those are the only 2 Christian countries, and both of them are over 90% Catholic. I only have one picture to share with you. It was of an 80-year-old man that I happened to have baptized while there. I wish I had a few more pictures of Timor-Leste to share with you. We have a wonderful school there. It just started 3 years ago. And this school is operated by student missionaries. Young people coming from college, going abroad for 1 year to give up 1 year of their life in service for the Lord. And our school there urgently, desperately needs more student missionaries for, well, maybe 1 more this year, but for next year in order to operate. We started with 1st and 2nd, and we had a waiting list a mile long. Then we added 3rd, then 4th. Now we have 5th, and next year we will have 6th grades. And each year, of course, we will add 1 more. The General Conference has given us 13th Sabbath offering in 2015 so that we could build a very nice school. Unfortunately, until 2 days ago, we did not have any land to build it on. And praise the Lord, 2 days ago, we finally signed off, and we have our own land now, so we can begin building this school ourselves. If I could show you the school now, it's in temporary, well, it's in tents. Literally, it's in ADRA tents, temporary classrooms with fans set up to keep the kids and the teacher cool during the day. We're looking forward to building our school this year and hopefully having something different next year. Timor-Leste, pray for that little country. It has been in many wars in the past, but for the past decade, it's been quite peaceful there and is doing very well. But it's like starting all over because the last war, which ended in 2002, all the Adventists left or were killed. So we started from one family, brand new, as though there was no work at all in this little country. And now it has grown and grown and grown again. Pray for that country there. But Timor-Leste urgently needs student missionaries to work there. Thailand. Anybody here been to Thailand? Sawadee Kap. Good to see you. Aw, it's a cute little elephant. No. This is Kiona when she was 9 years old. or 10 years old, 9 years old, I guess. And Thailand is known for its elephants and also for his brightly colored vehicles and for its temples. This is at the Grand Palace in Thailand, and it has, if you've never seen opulence, millions and millions poured into each of these buildings made of pure gold in some cases and other gems. All to give glory to Buddha. By the way, I wish I could go into to have time to share with you what each of these points. Does it look a little like something you've heard of before in the Bible? A little bit. But there are 8 points on this beast, and it represents each of the 8 points of what a Buddhist believes that they should do good by. This is a very unusual picture because the 3 guys behind Kiona are monks. They're novices. A monk believes that everybody becomes, or Buddhism believes everyone becomes a monk for at least 1 year. And so they go off to learn, and one thing they don't do is they do not talk to girls or take pictures with girls. So this was a very unique opportunity. I want to visit with you about Hanoi, Vietnam. In Hanoi, first of all, Hanoi or Vietnam used to be French controlled, so you still see a lot of pictures or a lot of places, all the streets start off with French names. And when you look, you see this lady, she has French bread that she sells for about 2 cents a loaf. Very, very good, hot French bread. Well, it was hot when she started. But of course, it has its own flavors too. And I wish I could show you, I have a lot of these pictures to show you in case you haven't had supper, but there were a lot more hanging on the, along the stands. Anything, any part of the body you want to eat coming from any animal imaginable, all right there for you. I won't describe it any further. Transportation. In Hanoi, you come up to a traffic light, and there are, of course, 4 directions, and it's amazing what happens when a light turns green. Thousands and thousands of these motorbikes come charging directly at each other from the opposite direction, and somehow all figure out how to integrate with each other as they pass by. It's just amazing to see. And I actually, on my first day to Hanoi, was asked to drive a motorcycle and follow the ADRA director downtown. I got on the motorcycle, I drove the motorcycle, but found it utterly impossible to figure out where the ADRA director was and was lost in Hanoi after about 10 minutes. I decided the only thing to do was pull over and wait, and 20 minutes later he came back and found me. Cambodia. In Cambodia, this is actually a place called Battambang, where we have zero work and just started entering this city. It's the 4th largest city in Cambodia, and it is a technologically, I don't know, they produce computer parts, and so it's a technological town. And we have started a center of influence here. This center of influence will have a bakery. It will have a music program. Our teachers, Mrs. Shin there, is a music master or mistress. She has been invited to places like Austria, Vienna. Vienna's in Austria. She's been invited to New York City to lead orchestras and to play. And she's a missionary there teaching little kids how to play the violin, using her talents for the Lord. Her husband is the leader of the COI, Pastor Shin, and they have an amazing ministry there where they need 2 student missionaries to work with them to teach kids English and to teach kids about Jesus. Another place in Cambodia is actually, this is a supporting ministry of the church. This is SALT Ministries. And this man, his name is Tim Maddox. He used to work for ADRA there in Cambodia 30 years ago. It was right after the fall of, the fall of the Khmer Rouge, And Cambodia was just starting up again as its own little country. And they had this piece of land that was available for $10,000. It was all of his life savings, everything he had to buy this piece of land. Today, people have offered over $3-4 million for that property, and it's not for sale. And the reason it's not for sale is for the ministry he has there. He has an orphanage, he has a school, he has a TV station that's there, but the orphanage is a very special one. Many of the kids there are AIDS kids. Many of the kids there have been left off on the doorstep and are very, very challenged. They each have families. They live in groups of 12 together, and each of them have family leaders, dedicated family moms and dads who've come with their own family to live with them and to watch out for these groups of 12 each. There's about 130 kids there. Then on the other side of campus is our Adventist Academy that is also run there. A beautiful place. By the way, it's actually called Collegedale Cafeteria. If you've ever been to Southern, okay, a couple of you have. And the reason is because Collegedale Adventist Church came out and built a lot of the things for them there. And so they have the Collegedale Cafeteria there and a few of the other places that you might recognize. This is a very ancient statue that's there in that area, but I'm not here to talk about Buddhism, so I'm going to move on to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is an incredible campus. Many of the kids that go to our school are Muslim. Many of the kids are Christian, mixed together, working together. Do you recognize that lady? By the way, I introduced myself as Kiona's dad, but Teresa's husband works too. Although last time I was here, somebody asked, wanting to know if I was her boyfriend, and the answer is yes, I am. By the way, Teresa, can you stand up for just a second? Oh, it's not the same, but it's close. Teresa's also wearing an Asian outfit tonight. When you go into church, if you have, could be, but if you have trouble when you come out of church, if you didn't like the shoes you came in, no problem. Just find one that fits and you'll be okay. Maybe. Actually, in many places in Asia, you remove your shoes. Many Americans and missionaries go overseas and have a hard time with this. In fact, in Thailand, it was a big argument for over a year between the foreign missionaries and those who were there because the missionaries refused to take their shoes off. Can you imagine? And what did God say to Moses at the bush? Why did he say to take your shoes off? Because the ground that Moses was standing on was holy. Now, I want to ask a question. Was it really holy? It was the same as any other earth anywhere around in the desert. If you picked it up, what did you have? Sand and dirt and sticks and twigs and pebbles. And it was just dirt that Moses was standing on. But there was something different that made it holy. What was that? The presence of God. The difference between holy and unholy is the presence of God. That is the only thing that makes something or someone holy. If you want to be holy people, what will you have? Oh, I could go on preaching about that one forever. But I'm not here to talk about that tonight. But I share that because sometimes the cultural differences that we have get in our way of true ministry. And here we were arguing back and forth about whether to go into God's holy sanctuary with our shoes on or not. Many places in Asia, they take their shoes off. I can't tell you the names of any one of these people because some of them were Muslim. And if the word got out that I was showing this far and wide, I'm even going to move quickly because I understand this might be on TV. They could be in trouble. Their families may have ostracized them. They were all baptized that day. Bangladesh is also known for its colorful vehicles. I want to spend the last couple of minutes talking about something that has just really hit me hard. Scenes like this are found in every part of Asia, but this happens to be Manila. I go running a lot and was up there just last weekend, or just this past weekend, this Sunday morning, I ran a half marathon. And if you're out on the streets of Manila early in the morning or in the evenings, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children who are sleeping out on the street alone. And not just Manila, in many other places. My challenge is I don't feel so helpless as I do when I walk down in a place like this. And I look and I say, Lord, what can I meaningfully do? I don't know. I don't really have an answer yet, and I'm still praying about it. Can I walk and hand out some money? I suppose I could. In some cases, many of the children there are there, and the money goes away from them and to others who have put them out there as plants. Not always, but the money wouldn't go very far, be very helpful. Is there something else I can meaningfully do? I have prayed and prayed about that. Keep that as a matter of prayer, because I look and I see so many people who have real basic needs, and this is where they sleep at night. As I conclude this evening, I want to share just a little about my testimony. I know most Wednesday nights you guys get to share your testimony, and the last time I was here, I loved hearing about it. But I grew up in New York City. I'm sorry, but that just happened to be where it was, and I've been apologizing for it. But anyway, I grew up in the Bronx High School. I went to school in high school in Bronx High School of Science. It was, if you look online, there's like 80 well-known scholars, many Nobel Prize winners, many senators, many congressmen have all graduated from this school. At one time, it was academically ranked third in the nation for public schools. I don't know if it still is. I don't know how I got in. In fact, I didn't. I failed the test to get in. I had to go to summer school all summer in order to go in, but it was a rather elite school, and I'm very glad I had the privilege of going there. But I share that because when we came up to graduation, everybody was talking about, where are you going to go to college? And oh, these initials were thrown around, MIT, SUNY, UCLA, great initials. And people would ask, well, where are you going to college, Kevin? And I said, SMC. SMC, what? You guys probably don't even know what, you know what SMC is? Okay, glad you do. It's Southern Matrimony College. No, not quite, but close. And where are you going to school? Well, SMC. And, well, what is that? Well, Southern Missionary College. And I'd always whisper it just a little bit. What'd you say? Missionary? Are you going to be a missionary? Oh, no, not me. Not me. I could never be a missionary. I'm going there because, well, I'm going to study accounting a while because I want to be a lawyer. So I did. I went down there and studied accounting. And I knew I could never be a missionary. But my good friend that I grew up with, John Crum, happened to be a missionary in the Marshall Islands. Some of you look like you know who John Crum is. Ah, awesome. So John was a missionary in the Marshall Islands, and he was writing to me. He wrote a letter to me. He said, Kevin, I hear you're at Southern Missionary College. That's great. I want you to be a missionary next year, and I want you to take over my classroom. I could never be a missionary. And he wrote and he shared with me that he was teaching 5th graders there in Majuro, and they needed a 6th grade teacher to come and teach there on the island of Majuro in the Marshall Islands. Anybody know where the Marshall Islands are? Ah, very good. First country you come to, just the other side of the international date line. First people in the whole world to see the sun come up, yeah? And so he was writing to me, and finally I decided, yes, I would go to the Marshall Islands. Before that, I should share that I had not been in the church 2 years earlier. I'd been on my own, and I had told, people had asked me, will you come back to church? And I said, no, I would never do that. I would never set foot inside a Seventh-day Adventist church again. Now, I have my reasons why I said that when I was 16, but many people have their reasons for saying that. And those are people that need to be reached. And so I had said, no, I wouldn't be a Christian. No, I would never be a missionary once I had given my heart to the Lord. And then when I finally became a missionary, there was somebody there. I finally made it to the Marshall Islands, and we were in an orientation meeting. And there was a leader standing up front. And he looked at us. He says, be very careful. Because if you're not careful, you're going to fall in love with this place. You came out for 1 year, but you're going to want to stay 2 years like I did. He was just leaving. He'd been there 2 years. And because he'd been there 2 years, he was an expert, because those of us just coming for 1 year weren't, obviously. And he was standing up in front telling us all about orientation. And he said, be careful. You're going to want to stay for a second year. I was the first person up to him afterwards, and I said, I could never do that. I could never stay a second year. I've got to get back and finish my work so I can become a lawyer. And he was wrong, because I didn't stay for 2 years. I was the first student missionary to actually stay for 3 years. And by the way, at that time in the church, that was very frowned upon. If you were a student missionary, you had to get back to college. And soon, people from the General Conference were writing me. The president of Southern Adventist University, it had its name changed several times. It was SCUSDA by then, Southern College of Seventh-day Adventists for a little while. And the president of Southern College was writing to me and saying, oh, we need you back. Are you coming back? Are you married? I wasn't married. I wasn't, they thought I was living under a coconut tree and I was going to stay there forever. But one thing I learned is to stop saying never to the Lord. The Lord inspired, and I can just imagine that God has a sense of humor, and he says, Kevin said he would never come back to an Adventist church. We're going to make him a pastor. Kevin said he would never be a missionary. We're going to have him one day be in charge of all the missionaries in Asia. Kevin said he wouldn't stay 1 year. Well, he can stay for his life. Don't say never to God. And today I have a question for you. Is the Lord calling you to serve as a missionary? I take care of the long-term career missionaries there. I also take care of all of the student missionaries in Asia. Those who come out for 1 year, giving up 1 year of their life to serve Jesus. People have asked, well, why did you want to become a student missionary? And if I had enough time, how much time do I have left, Pastor Don? Oh, I have at least 5 minutes left. And if I had enough time, I would share with you all the reasons why the Lord had led me to my decision to become a student missionary. And my real reason was this. God had done so much for me in my life. He had changed my life so radically from where I was to where He wanted me to be. Still had a long way to go and still does. But He had changed my life radically. And I wanted to give 1 year of service for which I would not be paid, for which I would not be compensated, for everything I was doing. I wanted to give 1 year of service back to Him before I began whatever career He might put me in. And I'm wondering, has God done that for you? What would you do for Him? And not everybody needs to go out and be a missionary in another country. But what would you do for Him in gratitude for what He has given you in life? For some of you, it will be something right here on this campus. For others of you, it will be after you graduate, there'll be something special. And for a few of you, I would like to invite you to consider the opportunity to serve Him in the mission field somewhere. In our 14 countries of Asia, we only have student missionaries in about 6 countries. They serve as English language school teachers. Those who want to teach people more about English. Some businessmen come in the evenings. We have elementary or preschool kids that come in the mornings and elementary school that come after school. By the way, whatever job you have, that's not what you're there to do. Paul was what? What was Paul's career? Or what was Paul's job? That's what paid the bills. That's what got him there. That was the Can I build a house for you? Let me make a tent. And then can I show you how to invite Jesus into that home? It was an entering what we call wedge. So working as an English language teacher, that's not what you do there. That's just what you do to get to know people. That's what you get to do, to show people that you're human, that you have something that you want to share with them, that you have something bigger than teaching English. So we have English language teachers who spend a lot of time telling people about Jesus on the weekends and in the evenings and inviting their customers to church and to class. Then we have school teachers, actual physical school teachers who teach grades kindergarten all the way through high school. 1 year. Could you be a teacher? Well, you'd be surprised what you can do in the classroom. Places like Timor-Leste that could urgently need your help. Could you imagine yourself teaching third graders next year? Then we have places like ADRA workers who will go out and use their hands and go out and help build wells and help share Jesus while they're talking about sanitation and doing health ministries. There are plenty of other opportunities as well. I could go on with a list, but I want to invite you, if you have any interest, hesaidgo.net. He Said Go is the North American division's what we call shell on top of AdventistVolunteers.org. You go into hesaidgo.net and you will find over 450 calls around the world giving you opportunities to serve. Of course, I'd be most interested to have you come to my part of the world, but more important is you go where God calls you. Tonight, I would invite you, challenge you, to find a way to give back to God for all that He has done for you, one way or another. You can outpay Him. You can't give back enough. No matter what you do, a lifetime of service won't come close to giving back. You'll find actually, though, if you go, He will bless you far more than anything you could possibly give back to Him. But I would invite you to try. Student missionaries go for 1 year. They're typically college students. They take off a year out of school and go away and then come back a year. They pay their own plane ticket. AVS volunteers often leave right after school's out, after they've graduated, but can be any time in life. They go for 2 years, and their plane ticket is paid for. If you have a college degree and you go sign up for 2 years, no cost to you. You come and your plane ticket is taken care of. You're still a volunteer. You get a little stipend so you can eat, but your plane ticket is cared for. By the way, those of you who are not in college anymore, the longest serving Adventist volunteer in the world, guess how old she is? 80 years old last February. 80 years old, so you can serve. She has been serving in Thailand for over 30 years. Her name is Helen Hall, and she has been there on a 2-year call 15 times. She just keeps re-upping, and she just re-upped it last year. Helen Hall will not go home to her home country of Australia, I don't believe, ever. I believe she will work there till the Lord comes. She's working in a place called Eden Valley Academy, where she actually has 2 schools right on the border between Thailand and Myanmar. What happened is she went out to teach in Myanmar for 1 year, I guess it was 2 years, went out to teach in Myanmar, and they started a war there, and as they were fighting, she left with her kids one night on a boat and traveled across the river to Thailand, and as she was, soldiers were on the banks in Myanmar shooting at her boat and almost sunk it. And she made it safely to Thailand, where she started the school by herself. Well, there were others there, but got this school going. It started out with just a couple kids. Now it has like 1,200 kids that are going to her school every day in Thailand. So an Adventist volunteer can make a difference. What do you want to do to give to the Lord for what He has done for you in your life? Thank you for listening. God bless you.